Listen vision, listen vision. DC's #1 recording studio.
Everybody's audio down. All right, good evening. Oh, we're a little dark there, Jacob.
Can we get some light?
A little.
Oh, it's the screen.
Oh,
that's what it
I
is.
got it.
We bright.
Okay, yeah, we're bright.
There
Yeah,
it is.
my mahogany looks good. Right. Welcome. Right, welcome to the Swerve Show.
What's up, folks?
All right, and look who's here smiling with us. So we've got, of course, I'm Jamil Fletcher, publisher of Swerve, and to my left is Yarday Noir,
That would be me.
publisher at large, right?
How you doing?
Tony Nelson on the end.
Yes.
Hi, Tony.
Tony and I.
there.
Thank you, Nelson.
The legendary.
The legend. The living legend.
Y'all call
me old.
And then we've got David Johns as our special guest here.
Hey, David Johns. How are you?
I'm
happy to be here.
Great.
From the National Black Justice Coalition.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get into his story. You know, that's the leading civil rights organization for black same-gender lovers.
The only.
The only. Okay, the only.
Call
All
it.
right.
Correction.
And that means we need
Thank you.
that means we need to support it, but we're going to talk
Yes.
about that a lot.
A whole lot.
Okay.
You better look into the camera and sell it.
Yes. Okay. Oh, there's our camera. We got to look into our camera. I'm sorry. A lot. Anyway, so we're going to get started here. So, of course, our September-October issue is hot out on the stands, featuring the one and only
The
Derek
one and
Rutledge.
Yes.
The living legend,
That's a
Derek.
Myself.
That's a
Rutledge.
beautiful cover.
Oh,
Yes, it
yeah.
is.
And Tony is somewhere painting Oprah's face as we speak.
As
I'm
we
sure.
speak.
Actually, did you see his promo
Can I
that
just
they
touch the
did
hem of her garment?
for the beauty color?
Oh, yes, for Maybelline.
Baby?
That was awesome. They're doing makeovers for everyday women.
Baby.
And they get the Oprah.
So how do I sign
I want
up?
one too, right? Can I go too?
You got to enter.
Hey,
I just wanna
Jamil,
touch
look, we're
the
gonna
hem of her garment.
we gonna do makeovers on Swerve.
Ooh, that'd
We're
be
gonna
hot.
do a makeover issue.
With Oprah?
We're going to do a makeover.
No, that gonna be with Oprah.
I
though.
love it.
It's
Next
gonna be
year.
it's gonna be with Yarday.
All right. Let's keep it moving. That's right. Let's keep it moving. Okay. All right. And so, yes, our September and get your copy. It's got some great stories. On top of Derek's story, we've got our folks with a really good piece on election 2018. Angela Harvey
Yes.
gives a comment on, are you dressed up and all ready to grow? Talking about self-esteem issues and materialism and all those things. And then we feature Shaka King Menswear, featuring DJ Suspense, his beautiful self in it.
Shaka King.
And it's some great stories in there. And, of course, Sharita Powell at Amazulu Collections in Philadelphia.
Yes.
So definitely check it out. All right.
Check it out.
Let's keep it moving. So, of course, we've got advertising opportunities. And so for you individuals who want to
Yes.
advertise on the show,
Yes.
or if you want to advertise in the magazine, feel free to contact myself,
Yes.
Jamil at swervemagazine.com.
Yes.
All right. We got that. All right.
And
Go ahead.
you call us with your budget.
Yes. Call us with your budget and we'll work with
We will
it.
work with you.
Well, depending if it's a budget. Right.
Just have a budget.
With some
Go
zeros.
into the vision.
Something with zeros in the end.
Something with zeros in
That's
the end.
right. A few zeros.
Double zeros.
Or a bucket of chicken. Right. Anyway. Okay, and of course we're celebrating Swerve Weekend this weekend.
Yes.
Hopefully folks are coming. It's going to be fun.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the Swerve weekend.
That's Swerve.
This is our
weekend.
first annual. We're doing a meet and greet on Friday at the newly remodeled Bachelor's Mill.
Looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that.
Film screening of Andre Leontel, his
I am
documentary
extremely
Saturday.
looking forward to
Oh,
that.
it's great, isn't it? You seen it?
Yes, I have.
It's good. It's good.
We should all come very
Our 10-year,
fashionable for
yes,
that.
our 10-year anniversary party. It's a fundraiser for Dance Institute of
Yes, 10
Washington.
years.
Please come.
Yes.
It's a $30 ticket, $25 in advance, $30 at the door, and then we're doing a town hall meeting that Sunday to talk about what's at stake for our election. Together we are powerful. We need to do these around the country.
Sylvia, make sure you get this. You're jotting this down because she says she's coming to these events.
All right,
well, we'll
Sylvia,
text her
you
the
watch
flyer.
and jot these down.
And then the artist showcase later on that
Yes.
evening. If you sing, dance, rap,
Yes.
you're a poet,
Any of those things.
books, anything, come and showcase and share.
Yes, hosted by C. Thomas and Miss Nightlife.
Miss Nightlife, yes.
I just want to say that I am extremely excited about this. Jamil, we have been talking about this
I'm excited and nervous.
for like years. I'm nervous too.
I'm nervous.
But this is the beginning of something that we plan to
It's
do
the beginning.
annually. And I'm so excited. I know we've talked about it for like 2 or 3
We
years.
did, and we scraped it and put it together. And
we did scrape it to put it together for our 10
But
year.
next year it's going to be
Next year's gonna be
fire. It's going to be
Why you just claim that
Thank
for
you.
this year?
It's going to be fun this year. Next year it's going to be
It's gonna be what?
fierce.
It's gonna be fierce.
They gotta come from within.
Fierce. All right, let's keep
That's
it
a
moving,
thing.
y'all. All right, I'm sorry. All right, so your day. What's going on with you?
I get to go first
Yes,
this
you get to
week.
go first.
Do your thing.
Jacob, please bring my
We still have
flyers
a
up.
clock, though.
Thank you. So tomorrow,
I'm there tomorrow, too.
tomorrow at the Washington Arts Center, I am one of a few amazing artists who will be bringing to life Safeguards, which is it is a reading of a whole bunch of amazing plays that talk about the experiences of the lives of Black gay men and the families that surround us and our relationship dynamics.
It's going to be nice. And Brave Soul Collective
Yes.
does Monty. The folks do some great work.
This is a collaboration. Also, this is another collaboration with the Counter Narrative Project.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
They are Whitman Walker is a sponsor.
Oh, good.
And I heard that we are doing something.
Yes, we did. We're doing something. Yeah.
So,
we
yeah,
did
so-
an ad. Of course, Monty reached out to me, and of course I said yes.
So I'm super excited, and it's always a pleasure to work with the Brave Soul Collective. I'm a proud member of the Brave Soul Collective, so I'm super
So
excited.
come on out if you
Yes.
if you're in DC tomorrow evening at 8.
Yes.
It'd be worth your
And
visit.
there should be another flyer.
There is something.
Yes,
Look
there
at
it
that.
is.
Yes, headshots.
I relinquished my title
Look at
as
this ad.
Did
Mr.
that.
Black National at Large. I am the first Mr. Black National at Large.
Okay.
I will be relinquishing my title with my beautiful queen, Miss Beyonce
Lovely.
Black.
Did that.
I see it, didn't she?
She is from Louisiana, so she'll be here. We will relinquish on our title on October 7th at the legendary Bachelor's Mill.
All right.
7
We'll be
p.m.
there.
Yes.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
You please do.
Tony, what's going on?
Well, of course, this weekend I'm going to spend the entire weekend with Swerve.
Oh, I can't believe it.
I cleared my calendar.
I know that's right.
I'm going to be with
thank
Swerve.
you.
Well, I'm looking
And that's
forward
not
to
it. Yeah, he is going to be there. But
I'm looking forward
he's got
to it.
one other thing he does all the time.
Well, I also do, of course, the fourth Sunday of every month, I'm doing the lipstick review at Mr. Henry's. And coming up on October the 5th, I'll be debuting at Ziegfeld's. That's Friday
Oh, we
night.
need
It's
a
official.
flyer. And they
It's
need to add
official.
your
It's
image
official.
to that flyer.
I need to get that. Well, they do. Yeah.
But you
That's
don't have
in
a
the
blonde
works.
wig
Yes.
to go with that blonde
I
wig?
do not. But I will be at Ziegfeld's on October.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's all
On
right.
October the 5th. And going back to Black National at Large, I am hosting that event as well.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I'll
But
be-
October 5th is Darryl Wilson's event here. in
Darryl
DC,
Wilson's
right?
event is going to. He started his first Friday.
First Friday.
last month, and then first Friday we'll incorporate a show.
Oh.
Starting in October, and I've been chosen as.
Oh, we're there. We're there.
Word.
As the
All
host.
right.
The official
October 5th
MC.
is also the date of the Gentleman's Ball in Atlanta, Georgia.
Exactly.
It is.
Exactly.
And we're coming.
Talk about that.
Yeah,
We'll
we're
talk
going to
about that.
talk
Right,
about
I
it.
really want
And
to
I'm
go
not
there.
going to be able to make that, but yes, we're going to talk
I'll
about
hold
that.
y'all down.
Okay.
Please do.
And then we got something from Racine. I think Racine's October 3rd show. First, right. Meet
Yes.
the candidates. Oh, okay. October 3rd.
Okay.
That's gonna be great.
At the Human
Yeah.
Rights Equality Center. All right.
Yeah.
All
Her
right.
racing reading room was yesterday. It was really, really
I
nice.
bet
Well
it
done.
was.
Well done.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep it moving. So let's go to news. Okay. All right, let me take a deep breath.
Jesus, do we have something to drink?
Some water. Some water.
Wait,
Right
no, I
there.
missed
That's
something
not
strong.
sponsored.
Something stronger. So
Strong. We need some
Y'all-
strong cocktails.
Bill Cosby was put in handcuffs, and I mean, my heart just
picture.
dropped. It did. I mean, I understand the situation, but 3 to 10 years is it that he's gotten?
I thought that was a little light. You didn't think?
Well,
so?
he has
80-something years
he
old?
has
81.
3 to 10 years, but he can be.
Can
up
he
for
do it at
parole.
home?
He can be up for parole after 3.
Yeah, but he will
After
be
3.
labeled a violent sex offender for the rest of his life. Will
I
always
know,
have to
I
register.
know.
Will always have to
Yeah,
go to therapy.
yeah.
Will always have that image hanging above his
And-
head. When they eulogize him, they're not going to talk about the pudding pop. They're going to talk about him being in gym pop.
I agree with
Yeah,
you.
I
mean, and I'm
agree.
not a woman that he abused. So I mean, I don't want to negate
We don't want to. We
what
do-
he did, But it just seems it's just so hard to see this
It's
this
very
figure.
It's very
walk
difficult.
into
And
jail.
when I say
Excuse me.
I thought that it was light, I meant I thought they were going to give him more than that. I really did. I was like, oh, I thought they were going to give him more. But I'm also conflicted because yes, it was hard because we all have an image of him as America's dad, but we have to remember that was
A character.
A character.
Right.
So, are we confusing our feelings with the character? But then again, I mean, just to see him being carted off is really difficult. But we hold these priests accountable for the things they did to these kids 30, 40 years ago.
Hey,
So,
Clarence.
I mean, we
hold
should
some.
be.
We hold some.
We should be.
The issue is
Which of them do we know that have gone to jail?
They need to do a sweep.
Public
They need to go to
desecration
jail.
They need to sweep.
But again, that's the point, right? Like in an era of Me Too and a whole lot of privileged white men on bail,
Girl,
not having to
say
do
it.
perp
Come on.
walks.
Hey.
Like,
Well,
it would be nice if everyone was held accountable, but that's not what's happening.
Well,
So,
they're gonna make the.
is Paul
that they're
Manafort
gonna
is Paul
make.
Manafort in jail?
No, you know they're gonna make Bill Cosby.
Is y'all's
the
president in
example.
jail? Let's start there.
Not yet.
Well, that's the
Well-
but that's the big conflict. You
Right,
know, we're gonna put Bill Cosby
Right.
in jail for 10 years, but we're gonna put probably.
Who did you
I
say-
really
who
believe
did
they're
you
gonna
say
put
that
Kavanaugh
go
on
to
the
jail?
jail.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to come to that. But since while we're talking about white men, what happened to Harvey Weinstein? Did he get locked up yet?
Well, his thing has not gone.
White privilege.
It has not gone.
They've
that far
done
yet.
documentaries
Hashtag
on him,
white
but he's still
privilege.
walking the streets.
Okay, so
Hashtag white
this came
privilege.
across my
Hey, Darren
news
Wheeler.
feed. This came across my news feed today, and it said that if we're going to lock up 80-year-olds like Bill Cosby, then we need to go and get the chick. I forgot her name. Who
Absolutely.
who initiated
The Emmett Till.
the Emmett Till? Yes, 'cause
Absolutely.
she's still living.
Absolutely.
And she's 80. She's 83.
All of them.
Let's
R.
go get 'em.
Kelly.
Absolutely.
Hey, let's move on to the
Drake.
next item.
Who? Drake.
All right.
You gotta look at the camera.
I said what I said.
He said what he said. All right,
what I
DD.
said.
All right, DD.
She was Lenithia when
And
she
he
said
hasn't
that.
even had anything to drink besides
No, I
water.
have not. This has been a long day.
All right, y'all. Okay, so next item. So since we're talking about sexual abuse, what about the Supreme Court hearings that are coming up for Judge Kavanaugh?
Well,
I said this. I was on the Hill today.
I'm watching the whole thing
and it was
tomorrow.
it was extremely disruptive. Almost everything in the Senate is stopped. Members who are assigned to committees that are not the judiciary are focused on that. Constituents that otherwise would have been on the Hill advocating for protections for affordable care, access to housing, employment, any of the number of issues that face so many Americans. But everyone is focused right now on what is, at best, an example of white privilege at play.
How do you feel about that, though? Because I think it potentially sets a dangerous precedent
It does.
if you're going to be held accountable for something you did as a high school teenager.
When you are attempting to seek the highest office in the land,
it should be.
This is
you are accountable for
thank
everything
you.
that you have done, and
You-
especially
you
in an
should
era
be.
Thank you.
of
Of Me Too?
no. Actually, for me, not the Me Too, just an acknowledgement
Right.
that there are people, in particular, Kavanaugh and Klan president, who have lived lives of privilege,
Right.
where they feel like they can do anything to anybody without
Which
impunity.
they-
without any
What
without
they
any
done?
penalty.
And not only have they done it, they have flaunted it.
But you know what else? Kavanaugh just recently ruled against a young woman, and because I think she was a immigrant woman, because of something she had done when she was 17.
wow.
And his response was, "You still did it," basically. So I mean,
And again, this is not about if he did or did not do something.
Right,
It is
right.
about
It's
him projecting an image.
Right.
And asserting
Thank
that
you.
he
Thank
is
you.
a particular person, hiding 90% of
What he
his
said-
record,
what he said- he
having
said-
a
and this is-
rushed
he
said all he-
process,
he said all he did in
having a
school.
bully stand up and
Right.
advocate for him
Right.
while attempting to
Right.
sit on the Supreme Court
Court
for the
ju-
rest of
Right.
his life.
Right.
My biggest issue is if you did it, say you did it, and say that you were younger, and see, because they're acting like, oh no, it didn't happen.
Well, he
So-
said.
Yeah, but that's even
and-
too far for me because y'all's
and-
president said that he could
did
shoot
it.
somebody.
Right, he did.
and nothing would happen.
Well,
He did say that. Said it at a rally.
Right?
He
Like,
did say that.
For me, that's not enough.
He did say
we
that.
shouldn't even be having this conversation at this
And-
point about his confirmation.
And this is it's about a lifetime appointment because once you're there, it's done.
Well,
Well,
they
you
can
can't
impeach you if they need to,
be
but-
Let's just pray
impeached
for
off
Ruth.
the bench. You
But
can't
let
be
me
impeached.
ask you this
when
though.
was the last time that has happened?
It never.
But
hasn't.
let me ask you this, David, because you're the policy expert. Is this distracting from the real reasons that he shouldn't be on the court?
No, it is a significant one.
But but there are an array of
No,
others.
I think in an era of let me step back. The vast majority of Americans don't have the privilege of paying attention to the details of reading his cases, of thinking about how he's ruled, of then making the parallel connections to how what he's done in the past could likely influence what he will do in the future.
Right.
And so the reality is that this is a way for people to understand how he shows up as a person.
Gotcha.
Right? And so
Amen.
beyond the theatrics of a committee hearing, and to be clear, those are orchestrated. That is political theater at its finest, right? Committee staff, I worked on the HELP committee for years under Ted Kennedy's leadership. God rest his soul. If he was still alive, we would not be in the shit place that we are right now.
And I should tell you, I saw the Chappaquiddick movie.
We can talk about
We'll
that
talk
too.
about, oh my
we can
goodness,
talk about it too
that
because
one
he
took me out.
acknowledged it on his deathbed.
Right. Wow.
And he also, unlike so many other people, gave his life to public service. He made mistakes and owned them. That's not what we're talking about with Kavanaugh and other
Right.
privileged people
Right.
who just want to exist and have no responsibility for what they've done in the past. And so the point about the confirmation hearing is that if this had not come up, it just would have been a rushed process.
Right.
We could have seen what happened with Betsy DeVos, somebody who was woefully unqualified to be anywhere near public education.
She didn't know a thing about school.
Well, here's the thing that people should be pissed off about. Not that she didn't know anything about schools and that this president pushed her for that appointment, but that she didn't even think enough about the process and
study.
didn't even respect the position of not to study, but to listen to the people that briefed her.
Right.
This isn't even like a test you got to go and take on your own.
She basically just
Imagine,
said, I don't know.
This is like going to take the LSAT with the smartest kids in the class, and they literally sit next to you and say this, read that. This person's going to ask you this, and this is how you respond. She said, fuck all of that. The worst thing that we got to deal with is bears and guns in a part of the country in Wyoming where people in the district said, actually, we don't have bears, Mom. And so again, like we can laugh about it, but the reality is that like
it is
these
terrible.
are the things that allow people to dig in, to ask questions. And if it were not for this, the Republican leadership in the Senate would have rushed this through.
David Johns, I just want to let you know that you are welcome to the Swerv
of
Show
course,
anytime.
any day.
So what-
because I just got my entire life. Go ahead.
So David, my other fear is if for whatever reason we find out that these allegations are not valid, then does that nullify us trying to prevent him based on his record?
Two things, again, to step back. Let's not miss the forest for the trees. Before the allegations came up, Democrats in the Senate in particular, Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, who were on the Judiciary Committee, asked why is it the case that so much of his record is sealed? Sonia Sotomayor
Now that I didn't
have the
know.
luxury of having her record sealed.
I didn't know his
Everything
records
was
were
out in the
sealed.
open.
Oh, yeah.
How can your record be sealed and
Sealed.
you're
Because
trying to
when you are a senator and you are in leadership, you get to control the rules. Period. He who is in control gets to determine the rules, right? And so the leadership in the Senate gets to determine how much of the documents that they are privy to get shared and in what way and at what time, which is why we saw a number of documents be dropped right before Kavanaugh was supposed to appear, knowing that nobody was going to have the time to go through them. Right. It's also why not everything that he's done has been made public. And if you watch the hearings, you saw senators ask questions about
they
that.
get 5 minutes. That's it. I'm like, is that all we're going to ask this person that's going to get a
Well, in
service
public,
for
but
life?
again, remember that, and some of this came out in the hearings, there are rounds of meetings. So Kavanaugh went and sat with almost every senator and had conversations with them in their chambers. What we saw was the theater. It was,
Right,
the
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 production.
members asking the things that they needed to ask to plant a flag in the ground.
Somebody
the
said
grace
that-
is that we now have a conversation to be had about his character, his morality, and whether or not he is somebody that always tells the truth. And to your question about if he is found to not be guilty, I don't even want to have a conversation about the actual allegations. There's a whole lot of stuff that I think the FBI and a whole lot of other people need to get into. I am just concerned that we are having this conversation and that if he is appointed, he will join at least one other member who is sitting on the bench,
who has been accused of the same thing.
Right.
And the fact that there have been no safeguards or provisions to address this after what has happened to Clarence Thomas is an even bigger travesty.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to keep moving. We got to keep moving. All right. I think we got one other news item. Oh, so this press conference. Did anyone see the press
I
conference?
missed the press
I'm
conference.
talking about what your
I
president.
saw it.
80 minutes of hell.
It's just
I just want to know why people keep tuning in.
because it's entertaining.
No, but we said that about Jerry Springer. Nobody watches that anymore.
I don't feel like it's
Jerry
entertaining,
Springer.
but I think people do because people feel like it's at this point. It's someone at my
But
job.
what about it is
Someone at my
entertaining?
job actually said to me, she said, "Oh well, you know what? Right now, I'm just entertained by the man. He's just."
It's not entertaining.
I just
it's
looked at
kind
it. I
of
was like, "Are you
scary.
really entertained by him?" I mean, at some point today, I was walking past the TV and I was like, "I'm waiting for him to say bada bing." I mean, I'm just like, what is he talking about? I don't understand.
And he lies.
How did this man become the president of the United States?
I sit in awe every day.
Well, we know
And
it's white
era of
privilege.
reality
We-
TV.
And is anyone willing to hold him accountable for the lies that he continues to tell?
Well, we don't do a good,
The only
a good
people
job
that
of
hold him
holding white people
accountable are the press because they actually keep.
But that's not. No, again, I argue the opposite. If the press did not give him a platform, we would not be in this.
The
space
press
in the
gave
first
him the
place.
platform in the first
They
place.
don't hold him accountable. They giving
They're
him
exploiting him. They're exploiting him.
unfettered and free media platform is the exact opposite of holding him accountable. And the most dangerous thing about this is that for people who just laugh at him, he has been dangerously productive. Just today, we released, NBJC released a report. It's available on our website, nbjc.org. And we did it because we wanted people to know just how much damage he has done. And some of it might be temporary. There might be another administration that can change some of this stuff by executive order. But so much of it will exist for generations.
So you
Right.
posted
I
this on
agree.
your site?
It is on our website.
I want to run that. Can I run something
Yes,
on
please.
that?
We would love it.
We're going to push that out. We're going to push that out, y'all, from
Yeah,
NBGC.
and so just to connect the dots, we were on the Hill today to talk about those policies that matter most. HIV criminalization, right? The need for us to talk about basic human rights and civil rights protections for Black LGBTQ folks who live in the South in states where it's legal to discriminate against us. And the reality is that everybody's so distracted by Kavanaugh, nobody even wanted to have those conversations.
Right.
Well, we're going to get further. We're going to delve further into that in a minute. So, I do want to show this clip. The midterms are coming up November 6th, and everyone needs to get registered and get out to vote. And HRC has a Take Action movement, and let's show that clip.
Let's show it.
Jacob.
And we're back.
All right. We're back. Ooh, David's a mess, y'all. All right.
David,
So-
you're welcome here.
Yes, he's
I
always
love him.
Anytime.
I
always
absolutely love him.
I live it.
We got a couple of. We're a little bit behind schedule, but I'm going to catch up. We got a couple of events for what's going on, what's hot going on around the country. So first,
Let's talk about it.
Wanda Alton Foundation is doing their gala event on October 10th.
Are we going?
Yes,
We're going,
I'm
right?
going. It's
I'm
here in
going
Washington,
too.
D.C., folks. So if you're not familiar with the Wanda Alton shelter, it's providing shelter for homeless
Yes.
LGBT youth. And Wanda was a good friend of all of ours.
Yeah.
She was the first person that held the title as the mayor's liaison for the LGBT community here in the District of Columbia. So.
Yes, I went to Norfolk State with her.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. And our good dear friend June Crenshaw's on the board. So that's
Yeah.
and Marvin Bowser is I think chairing the host committee. So
Yes, he is.
We'll be there,
I got
Marvin.
an email from him.
Hey, Marvin.
We're there.
Hey, Marvin.
All right. Then next we got In Our Own Voices in Albany, New York is hosting a conference October 4th through the 7th. And I've met a couple of the folks there. They do great work up there. I just wish I could be in more than one place at one time. But that's in Albany, October 4th through the 7th. If you're in that area, please attend and support that initiative. All right. Then the other is Fireflies. It's a new play. It's running from September 26th through the 11th. It's a great production. I know our very own Richard Pelzer is somehow connected with this event.
Oh, wow.
And they're doing theme nights. So there's a Black Theater night on the September 30th, LGBT night on October 7th. Friday, they got a Black Queer and Here night. Okay, is that different from LGBT night? All right.
Is this?
And it's a great place centered around a Jim Crow theme activity.
It's in New York.
In New York.
In New York.
So make sure you check that out. Okay, then the Gentleman's Ball in Atlanta. Wine and G are
This
hosting.
is going to be the hot
And
ticket.
I'm not going to make it. Are you
And
going?
I will be there.
So upset
It's
I
an
won't be there.
all-black masquerade theme. I was there last year. It's an event.
It's not a masquerade theme this year, is it?
No, last year was
Last year was
this
the
year's
masquerade
all
theme.
black.
And our good friend Tammy PA is one of the co-hosts,
Oh,
along
love
with
Tammy.
Terrell Carter, who we're
gonna be
going to be
good.
doing something
Yeah.
with. So you'll represent us, Dave.
You gonna
definitely
represent.
will.
You gonna hold it
Definitely
down.
Give Juan and G a big hug for me. I love those
Definitely
guys.
will.
Love those guys.
They're doing good work.
Oh, yeah.
They are.
Yeah, they were on our cover last year, right?
Yeah, the Beautiful People issue.
Yeah, that's right. Sure. Well, they shared it with Tracy
With
Africa.
Tracy Africa and Douglas Says.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Then we've got the 5th annual Baltimore International Film Festival.
Yes.
Happening, guess what week, y'all? October 2nd through the 8th.
It's a popular weekend.
And that's produced by
Very.
Soga. So
And Soga is a big supporter
we
of
love
Swerve.
Soga. I think I might be able to make one of those dates. I'm going to look for that. All right. And then what else do we have? We have Ujamaa Men's Collective Conference in
It's in
Fort
Florida.
Lauderdale. That's right. October 19th through the 21st.
At least it's not the same
Are you
weekend.
doing that by any
I
means?
am not.
Are you familiar with
will be-
Ujamaa?
I am familiar with
Okay.
them. I will be at Elizabeth City State University,
Oh.
giving a keynote. Talking
yeah.
about
Okay,
decision
come on,
and
keynote.
diversity.
Oh, you do keynotes?
I do.
He does keynotes. Can't you
We're going to
tell?
bring you in for Swerve Weekend and we get on your budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, all right, that's enough of that, y'all. So our musical spotlight, I figured since we had David here, we would do something empowering and political and all that. And so my dear friend Carolyn Malachi, who's one of my favorite artists, she has a video for a song called Sky, which was actually produced by my nephew, Jermaine Fletcher.
Wow.
Come on, nephew.
It's some talented people somewhere in our
You
family.
have some talent in your family.
But anyway, let's run that clip of Carolyn Malachi,
Let's
Sky.
see it.
I can't wait to be free. Can't wait to get these chains off of me. I'll go wherever time is racing. I'll play my small part in the big solution. Here we go, changing the weather, locking arms, dropping bombs wherever. Can't we get it together? Where is the love? I've been dreaming about sky. Got a feeling we're about to fly. Power, power
is about freedom.
Change it all. Tell me what to do since everything I do reflects on you. Is it cool if I bling, if I rap, if I sing, will my soul shine through? With all I have to offer, if I speak to the paupers, will the princes still be cool? It's so hard to move when so many people are wearing my shoes. So I go to the left, to the right, to get deft like out of sight. To the slums, to the hills, to get the devil off of my heels, where it feels like I'm healed, where I have some room to breathe. To the sun, cause later on I'll be in the moonlight, baby. I'll be a skylight, baby.
Jermaine Fletcher.
Carolyn Malachi, y'all, give it up.
Give it up.
We got to bring Carolyn.
You got to be from DC. I saw that Welcome to Brooklyn.
Yes.
We got to bring Carolyn on the show.
We should.
Yeah, that's a couple of videos we showed her. But anyway, so y'all, we got David Johns with here. And David Johns is the executive director for the National Black Justice Coalition.
Yes.
And you've been in this seat for a year, right?
A year, yes. This
Okay.
month, actually. Yep.
All right, so tell us about NBJC and how you got there and where you came from before. Tell us
I
that.
appreciate the question. So for those who don't know, the National Black Justice Coalition is the nation's only civil rights organization that is intentional and unapologetic and acknowledging that as long as there have been black people, there have been black LGBTQ and same gender loving people. And that unless and until we are intentional about acknowledging those intersections, we will continue to neglect members of our community who offer up so much, but who are most often neglected and ignored.
Amen.
Wow.
And so I came to know NBJC because my predecessor, the indomitable Sharon Lemon Hicks,
Hey, Sharon.
who's helping to get Andrew Gillum elected as the next governor of Florida.
Come on, Sharon. We with you.
She was appointed to my President's Advisory Council. So prior to serving in this capacity, I was appointed by still my president, Barack Hussein Obama, and his fabulous First Lady, still my First Lady, Michelle Yvonne Robinson Obama, to lead an initiative that they established, the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for African Americans. It was the newest of 6 initiatives, the eldest of which is the White House Initiative on HBCUs, which there was some activity around that today from this crazy administration.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that was still in existence.
It still is in existence, whole nother conversation. We'll move on. But suffice it to say that Sharon and I collaborated and produced the first ever White House Summit on African American LGBTQ youth.
I think I was there.
You were, and I appreciated the support then as well as now. That was really important because prior to working for President Obama, I spent almost a decade on Capitol Hill. I worked as a senior policy advisor to the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, the HELP Committee. It was chaired by Ted Kennedy. As I mentioned earlier, when I assumed the role, he passed away, and then it was chaired by Tom Harkin. The HELP Committee sees more than 40% of legislation introduced in any given Congress and affects most people who look like us and come from the communities that have supported us in ways that we don't even think about. So Head Start, Pell Grants, if anybody has a higher education loan, the Affordable Care Act, all of those things come through the HELP Committee. And for 6 years, I was the only black male staffer on that committee.
Wow.
Who was responsible for advocating for our communities, for helping people make connections, and really pushing back against my privileged colleagues who were really playing in theory, but didn't really understand how the decisions we made at those tables would affect people in some really particular ways. And so in the time that I worked on the Hill, it struck me that when people were advocating for black issues, they would talk about black people as if we were all monolithic and really that we were all heterosexual. And then conversely, whenever groups would come and talk about LGBTQ issues or youth in particular, they would assume that they were all white. And so acknowledging, again, as long as there have been black people, there have been black queer people, it was really important for me to produce this summit. And so producing the summit allowed me to understand that I had not only an opportunity, but really a responsibility to bring all parts of myself to my work. And so when the administration shifted and it was not possible for me to continue in the role, I would never work for this administration, to be clear, ever in my life.
Only to escort them out.
Ever in my, I actually almost got arrested because I was in the building on the last day.
Oh, God.
When they were tearing down websites and trying to erase actual history and facts. Whole nother conversation, I would have happily gotten arrested. But when the administration shifted, I did not want to take a job. I was privileged not to need to take a job. So I took a vacation, a proper vacation, the first vacation I had in a number of years. But then I really thought about how best I could use my time, talent, and treasures to make a difference, especially given where we are as a country. And so I'm pleasured now to lead NBJC and to really focus on ensuring that we can all get free.
So what are some of the primary initiatives and priorities of NBJC? Like, what's the hot issue? I know you got a number of programs and initiatives.
Yeah, we do. And so I'll start with that we are, again, a public policy organization. We understand the importance of public policy and the role it plays in people's lives. And so we have a policy agenda and just issued, again, a federal report card holding all three branches of government accountable, really for their lack of action.
I want to run that. We're going to run that.
Important. Three things that I want to lift up within that. One, is the importance of the census. So there was recently a question added around citizenship that would likely take us back to the time where Asian Americans, Chinese Americans in particular, were put in concentration camps, essentially, after having identified themselves to this government. And acknowledging the importance of the census, which is used not only to count people, but to drive resources. We should all be concerned about that. Beyond that, there are no questions about LGBTQIA identification. And so, again, thinking about the way that the government gives out resources, we have a lot of work to do there. The second thing we're really focused on is non-discrimination protections. Most LGBTQ Black people live in the South with other Black people. This is really important because October is National Coming Out Month, and I say often
I didn't know that.
It is. How about that?
We learned something new.
I say often that unlike white people in the way that the story goes in Hollywood, right, where they come out and they move from Iowa to Chelsea or to Boys Town or to Hollywood, Black people live with other Black people.
We stay with our people.
Right.
And in particular, we live in the spaces where it is still legal to discriminate against us.
Yeah.
Black people are concentrated in the South, and in particular, the three states where actually they have laws that make it impossible to pass laws that would otherwise protect people based on gender identity.
They have laws that make it
so Georgia,
God.
Tennessee, and Arkansas all have laws that make it illegal to pass laws that would otherwise protect people based on gender and sexual identity. And because we have things like the Masterpiece Cake Shop case, which open up the door to discrimination, legal discrimination, and because, again, we live in spaces where it's already legal to discriminate against us based on gender and sexual identity, and we also have the challenge of dealing with the vestiges of transatlantic enslavement, white supremacy, and anti-Blackness. We are especially challenged, and so we're really pushing on that front. And the last one is Affordable Care Act, right? We know that was something that was really important. Senator Kennedy died watching that come into fruition. But in particular for us, because we care a lot about ending the HIV/AIDS epidemic.
Right.
It bothers me. There's data that just came out that talked about 1 in 4 Black and Latino men who have sex with men have taken a test, know their HIV status, and a quarter of us are taking PrEP. And so I talk about being on PrEP as often as I can.
Is it that much? I didn't know it was that high. I thought it was.
A quarter of us taking it.
But I thought it was much less.
Again, in a world where people are still dying, it is nowhere near where it should be.
Right.
Yeah, because 1 in 2 of us is projected to get HIV. Can you
continue
imagine
in the way that they
50% of the Black female population?
Yeah, sadly, I've had to. I tell people all the time that I had to shift in my own personal life from thinking about if I would contract HIV to when. Because, again, the stats suggest that that's just the reality that we have to accept.
Right.
Beyond the policy focus, we spend a lot of time around messaging around ending the epidemic. In particular, I spent a lot of time talking about the HIV crisis among Black, cisgender, heterosexual women because they continue to be affected at disproportionate rates, and we're not talking about that at all.
We're not talking about it. No one's talking about HIV in our communities at all.
Well, we are, and I'm also trying to and would appreciate collaborative support in this regard. Somebody said that recently to me that Magic Johnson came out in the late 80s, early 90s, right? And it cannot be the case that he's the only celebrity we know who was HIV positive.
Cannot be.
And so we just have a lot more work to do to deal with the stigma and to make it so that we can talk about not only status, but everybody's sexual health, regardless of what it is that you decide to do. But we also spend a lot of time checking myths because people still think that there are disproportionate rates of HIV infection amongst black people because we have more condomless sex or do things that white people don't do. And they're wrong. The exact opposite is true. But because, again, transatlantic enslavement, white supremacy, and anti-blackness, we are affected in ways that other people are not. Because of that, we're also doing a lot of work around cultural competence. We work with HBCUs. We do a lot of work with Howard University to ensure that the space is welcoming of and supportive of all people, including LGBTQ youth, faculty.
And I know there's some other
community.
LGBT organizations that have some HBCU programs. Do you work with them?
That's a lot. I will not name them.
Okay, but do you work with them?
There are a number of people.
Do you work
in this
with others?
space.
Do you work with
it's
others?
not being funny in this
That's
moment.
what I wanted to know.
We work in partnership with everyone who's interested in trying to make spaces safe, inclusive, and supportive.
Gotcha.
And then the last place that we've spent a lot of time in is direct action. So I spent a lot of time talking about a young man who's become a brother to me. His name is Anthony Wall. A lot of people might not know his name, but if you saw the young man in a tuxedo being choked by white police officers outside of Waffle House, then you know
We
Anthony
talked
Wall.
about that.
Yeah.
I would love to learn more about his story.
I would love to bring Anthony here because the reality is that while most people, including the Waffle House execs, have gone on about their lives, the cops who physically harassed and beat him up and caused irreparable damage to where he was out of work and still has physical challenges he's living through, they've all gone on about their lives, and Anthony still is facing criminal charges.
Wow.
I wish I were not serious in this moment. Not only Anthony, but Chakisha Clemens, the young woman who experienced the beginning stages of rape at the hands of 3 white men in Waffle House. Chakisha was dismissed from her job, was recently found guilty of misdemeanor charges.
What?
Yep. Is appealing it, has court fines and fees, and again, her life has been irreparably
we just need to
damaged
stop
as a result
going to
of it.
Waffle House altogether.
In spite of, we
stop.
should not be there because the food is awful. It does not do anything
We
for our
just need
health.
to stop.
But beyond that, there's a record now of wanton disregard for the human rights of black people. Chakisha was asked to pay for plastic cutlery when she had a to-go order.
Right.
Anthony was called the N-word. He was called a faggot. His sister was disrespected. And it, simply because their black bodies were taking up space in an Waffle House restaurant.
Yo, can someone write me something about that? About what we can do to
Well,
stop
I'll tell you what we've
going
done.
Waffle House.
What we've done is call for a boycott. We followed up with Sister Bernice King. She was the first person to call for it.
We talked
followed
about
up and
Bernice
said that
King.
as well. That nobody should go there, in particular in the South, where those restaurants are concentrated. There also has been a lawsuit filed. Ben Crump and a couple of other attorneys.
And speaking
both
of
in
Ben Crump,
Saraland
isn't
and
he's
in North Carolina. He is
newly
a board
appointed to
member.
your board?
That's
Who else
exactly
is on
right.
your board?
Kyler Broadus, who will be honored by the
Oh,
gentleman's ball.
Yes.
And a couple of other wonderful people. We recently lost Linda Spooner, who was our light post, especially in health and wellness, and it's one of the reasons why we do a lot of work in the HIV space. But Ben has been really helpful in helping us ground our efforts to fight for the rights and basic human rights protections of our community by using our court system.
And I would imagine, I mean, that profile, his profile can really help leverage.
I think that's right. But the thing that I struggle with is how to get people to care about other people's kids. I have spent time with Chakisha. Her mother calls her Kiki. So I think about her often as Kiki. Anthony and I text each other. I was worried because of the storm. There's another sister who was discriminated against in a group of trans and gender nonconforming folks at a Texas Chicken and Burger restaurant named Deja Smith.
We saw that. We saw that. Right.
So we also filed that lawsuit as well.
Right.
So
That's
we're
right.
involved in that as well. But this is, again, because too many members of our community, the black community, take for granted that the civil rights that people died for are enjoyed by all.
Right.
And what we know is that there are too many members of our community, in particular, black, LGBTQ folks, and so many trans and gender nonconforming folks, transgender folks, whose basic rights are questioned every single day. And so we're investing a lot of time and energy into that space to, again, ensure that everybody understands that unless and until all of us are free, none of us are really free.
So what's the capacity of your organization? Because you're small, and then how can we, the people that are listening, the people that read Swerve, how can we get involved? Because that's one of our issues. We have too many of us that sit on the sidelines. how can we get the masses of our people involved?
Yeah, at least 3 ways. One is to visit our website and to leverage the resources that we provide and produce. To support the work.
nbjc.org,
That's
right?
exactly right.
Okay, we're
you
gonna
can
post
find
that.
us also across all social platforms at NBJC On The Move. The second thing is to support the work. We are a nonprofit organization. We are small but mighty, and the work that we do is tremendous and significant. I tell the story even more recently about Jeremy Miles, the 9-year-old boy who had the courage to come out to his parents and then went to school and his classmates told him to kill himself, and he did. I taught kindergarten and 3rd grade.
9 years old?
He was 9. Wow. That's 3rd grade.
Wow.
I taught 3rd grade.
Wow.
And I think about, that is one of this word is not the word that I want to use, but it's the one that comes to me in this moment. That's one of the more extreme cases. I think about the kids who are bullied,
Right.
Who contemplate suicide,
Right.
and who otherwise are prohibited from showing up in their fullness and demonstrating how brilliant they are simply because of how they show up in the world.
Now,
Which is more often than not.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of these topics are topics that we cover in our production that we're doing. We actually have a storyline. One of the storylines that we're talking about is a young man who killed himself.
you mean the Brave Soul Collective one?
Yeah, the Brave Soul Collective. And then there's a flip to the parents of the child that was, and the drama that went around. I mean, even like we were in reading the piece and just gagging. Yeah, because those are the realities that a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah, and we need more of that. So that's the third thing is to, if you have access to or can create a space where we can have these conversations, to sit in the discomfort, to provide people with the language and otherwise help them build the skills needed to hold space for all members of our community, we welcome that.
And have you ever done anything with Check It? I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, I know and love Check It. Holler at me.
Well, they're going to be at we're doing the screening to benefit them, the screening of the film.
Okay.
And Ron Moten and Star and the folks at Check It, you should meet them.
I would love it.
Because that film is really reflective of what's happening around the country.
That's exactly
and I know
right.
Ron is looking to work with similar groups around the
I
country.
welcome it. Let's speak it into existence.
Hey,
Thanks
Ron
in advance,
Moten, we
Ron.
talked you up, man. We're going to make a connection.
Check It.
Yeah. So what else do you need? I know your organization needs some money.
We always need money.
You have a major donor program?
Donate.
We need to do events around the country.
Definitely. We
We need to do
definitely
that.
do. Yeah.
Because there are not enough of our people that are connected.
No, they're not.
the organization.
In particular, and there's so many things that I would love to do. It pains me. I'm often in spaces with younger members of our community who don't really have connections to some of the elders. And even thinking about
Who's an
ways
elder?
I'm not naming names.
Well, yeah.
I'm not
Right.
naming names.
Why we got to talk about elders?
But no, because it's important.
I want to become an elder.
It is so important. And this is one thing that I since
Anyway,
Tony
I'm
Nelson.
sorry, I didn't want to digress.
Since Tony Nelson is here, we've had this conversation about that. I think like Tony Nelson has been great with being one of the elders in our community. And when I say elder, meaning a person who's a
With
generation
wisdom.
prior to that we can go to and have real life conversations because of the HIV epidemic, it snatched out a whole
Sure.
generation.
A lot
And
of
so-
my peers are gone.
and so we hold on. So when we have somebody like a Tony Nelson who takes out the time to give a listening ear, to give advice, those things mean the world
Yeah.
to us.
Especially when you got young folks now who think that if I take PrEP, I'm invincible and I can do whatever I want and miss out on the reality of how that disease ravaged our community.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about elders, and I just want to speak to elders that are listening, we need to learn to be patient with young people.
Yes.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
this is the reason why young people turn away, because there's no patience. We need to learn and practice patience when we are dealing with young people. And if you cannot practice patience when dealing with young people, then you need to leave them alone. You need to
Get
move
out
out
of
of
the
their
way.
way, take yourself out of their space, and then let
Listen,
someone
Linda.
else
Yeah,
do that
that's
work.
Well, I think
Yes.
the other issue, the other thing that happens in our community is that there's a lack of connectivity, and so instead of us coming together, we tend to spin off and
start
create.
something else.
And there's all these little small initiatives that everyone starts. Everyone's starting their own thing.
Yeah, that's the nonprofit sector more generally. Most nonprofits operate with a budget of less than $1 million.
Right.
And don't exist for more than 10 years.
Right, and then you're gone, right.
Yeah.
So to be more impactful, we could all come together, even if you've got your own, we could still partner and work together.
Yeah, that's what's required. NBJC celebrates 15 years in December.
Congrats.
Also invite you who wants to offer up your talent and your time. We also need volunteers, interns as well. So young people who are interested in intersectional social justice, who are interested in policy, or otherwise helping people get free, hit us up.
And you've got leadership initiatives for young individuals
We do.
as well, right?
NBJC Power 100.
Wow.
It was a list that was established to take away the excuse people would offer to say, I don't know young, talented, queer people of color. We have at least 100 of them on a list that you can download on our website.
Oh, let's profile
It includes
them.
people.
We need to do
We
more
would love it. It
coverage.
includes
We do.
people like Charlene Carruthers, who wrote an amazing book.
Oh,
the
yeah.
former director of
we're,
BYP
we're supposed to be
100.
profiling
Yeah,
Charlene.
sure.
Charlene, we're supposed to be profiling her
Charlene.
for the next
Yep.
issue, right?
Yep. So lots of young people who are doing phenomenal things.
Phenomenal things, and young people who are doing phenomenal things. And just one of the young people just popped on as I was saying
Bunny,
that.
yeah.
Bunny Houston St. James. Just want to say hello
Hey,
and
Bunny.
hang on.
Hey, Bunny.
Just hang on, and you'll be doing phenomenal things in the very near future.
So we got just 1 minute left. I want to make sure that we recognize that NBJC is an organization that represents us.
Yes.
That's
and
right.
that it is only as impactful and successful as we
That's
make
exactly
it.
right.
And so it's beholden upon us to support it in any way
support
that
it.
we can that's possible. And we're going to do our part here at Swerve.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I want to encourage everyone else to do that. Reach out to David. I know he's accessible to his team, Isaiah Wilson, and the rest of the great folks involved with the organization. There's a lot we can do. You do an annual event out on the Hill still, right?
Yes, we
when
do.
does that take?
It happened during
just
TBC.
happened.
It just
That's
happened
right.
the week of
That's
the
right.
13th.
That's right.
But you can find recaps on our website, and we also posted the pictures on our Facebook group.
Okay.
And I'll tweet some out. I'm at Mr. David Johns across platforms. But that'll happen again next September. In January, we'll do an event with Creating Change in Detroit.
Okay.
With our brother Curtis Lipscomb out there.
Curtis with
and we'll do stuff
LGBT
throughout
Detroit.
the year. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. But that event happens every September.
All right, folks. So look, go to nbjc.org and look at how you can get active. I meant how you can get active. Get active, right, with the organization.
vote.
I'm from California. We talk like that.
All right, so I want to thank everyone. Your day. Tony Nelson and David. It was
David.
such a
It's a pleasure.
You got to
It's
come
been a
back. You got to
pleasure.
come back.
You have to come back.
David, you have got to come
David
back.
Y'all saw they invited me.
All right,
They act like they don't
he's
know me
coming,
when I
he's
see him on the
coming,
street.
he's
And
coming.
I
And we're
knock
gonna
on
do a
the
cover.
door.
We're gonna do a cover story soon. We're gonna do a cover story. Anyway, all right.
Stop
Thank
eating.
y'all. See y'all next week.
See y'all next
you,
week.
guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Listen, vision, listen, vision, listen, vision, listen, vision.